I'm proud to say
Oh.
that my seasonal depression has finally lifted.
Oh.
Yes. I woke up like a brand new person today.
I'm not. This is so bad, but I noticed.
It was like a switch
A
flipped.
fog.
Yeah.
No, when you called me, like I had not just woken up, but I had like not gotten out of bed yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I was expecting you to be upset that I hadn't left the house yet. And you were like, okay. You were so nice.
Well, I did have an errand to run that I really wanted to get
That's true.
done.
Sort
but,
it out.
Yeah. But no,
Wait,
yeah.
you can tell us what you're doing. Because this episode won't be out yet.
You can tell us what I was doing?
Yeah, your errand. I thought you were trying to keep it a secret.
Well, I was picking up Andrew's birthday gift today at the shopping center.
Yeah, but you also, as you said, your seasonal depression has lifted.
It has, really. Every year, I never realized like kind of how much seasonal depression will affect my life until I'm back in springtime. Yeah. No, like once it's lifted again, like it's gone.
That's how I feel about depression in general.
Low-key, I feel like this season was kind of worse than normal. Not like depression emotion, but as in like just low affect. You know what I mean? I've just been so not mellow and not really doing anything. And I know I also was in like a 2-month period where like I had no school, no job.
You had a weird change of a phase of life you were into.
Yeah. There was like for a while there, like I was literally had no responsibility, so like nothing to feel productive or you know, but
you were kind of in your like lazy era.
Yeah. Kind of like a summer
so
break
weird for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You even when you don't have anything to do, you're usually like always finding things to do to keep yourself like occupied, like organizing the house with dad or
making a budget. Like random things.
Listening to your finance podcast or something.
Yeah. I do really like the feeling of like feeling productive. I like the feeling of feeling productive.
I cannot relate. I feel like you'd probably be reading more if you were more productive because you could be like listening to audiobooks around the house or something.
Yeah. I feel like that honestly that influenced my reading slump too.
I agree.
Because you don't like, I don't know. I can read in a bad mood and I can read in a good mood, but like if I'm just kind of like no energy, for some reason that affects my reading integrity.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy for you.
Yes.
It is very nice outside.
Yeah, spring is upon us.
Amen.
Amen. He is risen. Hallelujah. But yeah, happy spring, everybody. I don't know if it is like officially spring yet, but it feels like it in Texas, and I'm ready for boat days and
some
laying in the sun, and
I desperately need a tan. My legs are showing.
Me too. Hide the legs.
Yeah, no, they were already out in that spring break episode and they were so bad. I looked so pale.
I'm pretty pale right now too. I'm trying to be good though and wear more sunscreen, so I don't know if I'll get super tail.
I don't know if I'm gonna get tail.
I don't know if I'll get super tan this season, but
I don't necessarily feel the like social pressure to get tan.
Yeah.
Like I just don't feel that anymore. I think pale is in.
I think pale is in too.
Pale is back in, but there is a difference between being pale and looking like you have grandpa legs. So, and that's where I'm at right now. I literally look I have grandpa legs that have never seen the sun. It's bad.
Oh, that's funny. I wonder why. Like, I mean, you wear shorts and skirts and whatnot.
The past couple of summers, like, I just haven't really done much outside. I used to spend a lot of time outside, and I just haven't. You know, that night I do like wearing pants, even in the summer. Like I like to wear athletic pants, and
I like leggings.
When you wear jeans too, I like wearing jeans in the summer for some reason.
I feel like that's normal though.
I also, frankly, like it could be a factor of I just have never had like shorts and skirts and things that fit me. So
yeah, I feel
it's shopping season.
It is shopping season. Oh my gosh, the stuff at the mall is so cute right now.
Really?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I need to go.
I need to go too.
Like desperately.
Yeah.
If
same.
you weren't going shopping right now after this without me, I would go with you.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
We can go next week.
I thought about going to South Lake after this, actually.
You should.
But I don't really like shopping alone. But I don't like shopping with other people either.
I only like shopping with like one person.
Yeah. If I go with more than one person,
It's not fun.
no. Shopping is kind of miserable.
Yeah. Unless I like have money and I'm like not like don't feel bad spending money, or like it's a specific thing I want, like a specific store.
Yeah.
Like I want like Lululemon leggings, like then I'll enjoy it.
That's how I am too. I need a goal.
Yeah.
If I don't have a goal, then I'm like really not enjoying myself.
Yeah.
Which is what the kind of shopping I need to do now. My only goal is that I need clothes. So
yeah, literally.
I need a dress for Jamie's rehearsal dinner. Like I really need that. So that's something I need to go do.
Yeah.
But
I need a dress for her wedding.
maybe we should do that soon.
Yeah.
Go shopping
get it
for that.
altered and stuff.
Yeah. Because you're short. You're gonna need to get it altered.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. I kind of forgot what we're even talking about today. Hold on. My brain is buffering.
Seasonal
hot
depression.
takes. Hot takes.
Well, anyways, welcome back to the pod, everybody. Welcome to check this book out. I'm Madeline Bookout, slightly unopinionated reader,
and I'm Hannah Bookout. I promise I'm not pessimistic. I'm an optimist, but I'm gonna bring out my pessimism today.
I think that you may be a pessimist, Hannah.
I'm really not, though. I guess only when it comes to reading.
You're opinionated. You have like strong opinions, strong feelings.
Yeah. But in real life, I'm really an optimist. I give people the benefit of the doubt. You know, I kill people with kindness. Like, I'm always an optimist.
Okay.
Right?
I think so. Yeah. I think you give people the benefit of the doubt too much sometimes.
Yeah.
So maybe that does make you an optimist.
Anywho, welcome to Check This Book Out. We're talking fantasy and romance today. As we do
and all the time.
and as we do every Tuesday. But yeah, we have a fun little hot topic today.
Yeah, it's episode 11.
It's episode 11.
It's episode 11. We are just talking bookish hot takes.
Yeah.
Don't have a lot like structured. We're just going to be yapping and talking about things that bother us.
Yeah. So if you're in a pessimistic mood, which I'm not today, so maybe I won't be as like fiery.
It's not fitting the vibe of coming out of your seasonal depression.
You know, maybe I was just angry at reading for a bit there. Whenever you're in a book slump, you're like, ugh, I don't like, you know?
Just feeling negative in general. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I feel like that's why I struggled like to come up with things that are hot takes.
Yeah.
It's because I'm not really ever in I haven't been in a reading slump in a while. Probably like a year.
Yeah,
at least.
Yeah, I didn't have a reading slump at all in 2024. Maybe a bit in 2023, but not really.
Yeah.
I just didn't read as much. You know?
I low-key probably need a self-imposed reading slump right now.
Why?
Because it's making the rest of my life unproductive.
Oh.
You know? Like all I do is read. I haven't crocheted and
reading is productive.
No, it is productive, but like everything else is kind of taking a backseat.
Like your other hobbies?
Yeah, my other hobbies, and then also like cleaning the house. You know what I mean?
Gotta get back on your audiobook grind.
I know, seriously, that's what I need to do. Mm-hmm. But I kind of like my audiobook time for the car right now. But
what happened to you having an audiobook
for everything?
Yeah.
I know. I'm reading a lot of new things, and I like reading new things, actually reading them. I'll get over it eventually.
I get that.
You know?
I get that, yeah.
So, anyways.
Let's get into it.
Let's.
So, grab your 151.
Oh, yes. Grab your coffee.
Coffee, dingle, dingle.
We're back.
Yes.
Find your comfy reading chair. Grab your
spring vibes.
Yeah. Grab your not seasonal depression. Don't bring your seasonal depression with you.
Yeah.
Leave that at the door.
Yeah.
Anyways, I didn't think that one through.
I really was stumped there. I was like,
Yeah, usually it
bring
comes
your
very
hot take?
I was like, yeah, no, you're not gonna bring hot. I mean, you could bring your hot takes with you.
Yeah. Maybe
See if
comment
yeah,
and share them with us.
yeah, and bring your strong opinions.
Yeah.
We're here to hear them.
Yes.
We listen and we do not judge.
Pessimists and optimists, welcome.
Welcome, everybody.
All right. Well, let's check this book out.
Um,
Do you like to start?
I can start.
Okay.
I need to look at my phone though, because I don't remember exactly what I put. Okay. So my first one is that fantasy and romance are the same. And let me explain. They're both fiction, right? I feel like a lot of people complain about how unrealistic romance books are. And like even you have kind of complained about this in the past, where you're like, romance books are so unrealistic. Like I can't get in the mental space to, like, sometimes it's upsetting how unrealistic they are. In my opinion, romance books, it's okay for them to be unrealistic because ultimately they are fiction. Like they are just as not real life as fantasy books are in a different way, you know?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's just telling a story. I think the only time it bothers me in an unrealistic way is when, and this happened in a book that I was literally just reading, sometimes like the way that they speak is too unrealistic. Like I'm like, nobody would say that in real life.
Yeah.
But yeah, massive grand gestures that nobody would ever do ever. Of course.
Like buying a house.
Yeah, for like it, of course that's not realistic. Like that's why I came here to read, is because I don't want to live this life. I'm trying to live one that's not real.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my hot take for, and I say that romance and fantasy are the same because I just mean that they're both fiction. Like it is okay for romance to feel just as unrealistic as fantasy.
I agree.
You agree with this one? You came around on it?
Yeah, I do agree. I think that there are different levels of, unrealistic. Like fantasy is completely, you are really going there for the escapism.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes people read romance because they want to put themselves in the like main character's shoes.
Yeah.
And so you don't want it to be completely unrealistic, but in its entirety it's fiction. Yeah, you're right there.
Yeah, I guess it all just depends on what you're going there for.
Yeah.
But for me, it's typically just to get out of my head and do something that I enjoy anyways. So it doesn't matter to me if it's not set in like a world that is not Earth, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but that's part of the reason why I like romance so much.
Yeah.
It's because it's not real.
Fair enough. Right. My first one is that we need to abandon trope branding. And by this I mean you are on Goodreads at the bookstore and you're reading the synopsis and all of the authors that, give a quote to praise the book, and it's like best enemies to lovers I've read in a while, or like this dark academia, like friends to lovers, one bed trope. Like,
yeah.
really, like, I understand tropes and I will use it occasionally, but all in all, like, I just am not liking tropes anymore because it spoils. It's kind of like a spoiler.
Yeah. It's not necessarily that they don't exist. They definitely do.
Oh, yeah.
And tropes have always been a thing.
Always.
As long as I've been reading, tropes exist.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like there's so much transparency and visibility into them now that it's like you're labeling books as that.
Mm-hmm.
In reality, I just want to be surprised.
Yes, I want to be surprised. Like, there are TikTok trends where people are like, books with the one bed trope, or like the who did this to you trope.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, well, now I know what's going to happen, and
Yeah.
takes the organic experience away, and it's a bummer. I mean, I feel like reading isn't as authentic.
Yeah. Agreed. That's kind of what the word I was thinking too.
Yeah. I get why people do it. So like, keywords and, clickbait kind of. And like, yes, I love an enemies to lovers. And I love a one bad trope. Like I will eat that up. And I will love a book if they have that. But don't tell me.
Yeah.
Let me just read and be excited.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me when I see those tropes in books unless it's like executed poorly,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But like I'm still giggling whenever they're like, "Oh, there's only one bed."
Yeah.
Like I will be kicking my feet.
Yeah.
But yeah, it also especially bothers me, and I feel like this maybe kind of leads into one of your other um hot takes is that it really bothers me when they say it in the book blurb.
Yes, that's what I'm
That like
saying.
pisses me off so much.
That's my whole point. Yeah.
Well, like if they say it in the comments too. I thought you were talking about people in their reviews.
No, I'm talking about in the
Oh, in the book
synopsis.
blurbs?
Like I'm on Goodreads reading what the book is about, and it's like this New York Times bestsellers, new enemies to lovers,
Fated mates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
A fated mates spoiler actually ticks me off so much because that should be kind of like surprising.
Yeah.
I think it's not a secret that there are going to be very specific tropes in romance books, but fantasy, like that can be a surprise.
Yeah.
But no, that also really bothers me, and I didn't even realize that it bothered me until you brought it up one time, and now I can't unsee it.
It really changes your reading experience.
Yeah,
honestly,
it does. And sometimes though, it is nice if they're looking for like a very specific feeling.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it is also frustrating.
Like if I'm on TikTok and I see one of those BookTokers posted a, books with a love triangle, like maybe I'll stick around and watch it. But if it's something like super specific of like books in which she holds a knife to his throat, I'm like, okay, no, like I don't want to know,
Yeah, I also feel like that's way too specific.
I know people get really specific with them nowadays.
I'm like, why do you? I mean, I guess people are just very particular about their taste.
Yeah.
I will literally read any trope. Like,
yeah, same.
It doesn't bother me. You know? I think it's also kind of challenging authors to be like tropeless or to come up with new tropes too.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know.
But then sometimes it encourages some authors to be like, I need to advertise that this trope is in it because people will eat it up. It's like
they
clickbait
are catering to like that specific audience. Yeah, that's a good point.
So authors go either way.
Yeah.
But I'm not for it. Don't tell me in the book blurb what the tropes are.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you.
Your turn.
My next one is, and I don't really know if this is a take that anybody has, but I think that ACOTAR would make for a bad TV show.
Oh yeah. No, that is a hot take.
It is.
I see people on TikTok doing fan casts all the time.
Fan casting, I think, is like
for like the show.
I thought that it got canceled.
I think it has been, but like,
yeah. Here's the thing. I think that TV adaptations of books in general are so hit or miss. Like, it is very hard to do. And I just feel like ACOTAR would be such a difficult book to do it for. I just don't feel like it could do the series justice. But like I feel like it would just be a cash grab. And maybe this is like super surface level. I just cringe so hard when I see those massive fucking ears. Like the ones that are like this long and take up half their head. When I'm reading about Fae, I literally just imagine a teeny tiny little point. Like I'm not envisioning half of their head being their ear.
Yeah.
But that's like a very small part of it.
Well, and dear God, if I see a man with like bat wings, I don't know how I'd be able to handle that.
That's my thing. Some people are like, oh, the wings really do it for me. I'm like, no. Actually, kind of makes me cringe.
I don't picture them really with wings, to be honest.
I don't either. it just is mind-boggling to me. They're like, "Oh my gosh, no, that's what I'm most excited about." I'm like, "I could not relate less."
I there I just cannot imagine a show making those look good.
Yeah. I also think that there are so many types of magic. Like, Feyre, spoiler, has like, literally all of what, the 7 types or
Mhm.
whatever. How are you going to properly or, like, not poorly execute every single one of those magics and make them, like, all equally fascinating and
Mhm.
well done,
Yeah.
you know?
Mhm.
She's obviously overpowered, and I understand that capability of TV and CGI and, like, cinema in general is very good and that they are probably capable of doing it. I just don't think that you could do it justice.
Yeah.
Um,
And think about all, like, the creatures that are
yeah,
in that series too, like,
yeah,
even, like, Reese's own beast form,
yeah,
or Tamlin's, or the Weaver, like,
yeah,
you have to think about all these different creatures that are so wholly unique.
yeah. It would just never live up to the way that I would picture it in my head,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
I feel like that's part of the problem.
Mhm.
And maybe I'm comparing it to too much to like Twilight or something where the werewolves were just so awful, you know?
Yeah.
But for example, like people talk about the Lord of the Rings show that came out in the last couple of years, like had the biggest budget on earth and people still really liked it and the cinema was great, but they were like it didn't really give, you know.
It didn't match their expectation?
Mhm.
Yeah,
I think I only honestly have talked to Dad and Colby about it, but
yeah.
um anyways, I don't know. I am kind of the opinion that I will not watch a TV or movie adaptation. Probably only TV. I think I would watch most movie adaptations to be honest. Um of really any books that I've read unless somebody came to me that I like trust their opinion and their and value their recommendations
Mhm.
and said like no, you have to watch it. It's actually so good.
Mhm.
That's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah,
I do think that ACOTAR could potentially make a good movie, though. There's kind of a difference between TV and movie.
there is. Yeah, for sure.
I feel like if they did a TV show for it, they would be making up shit. And
Yeah.
I have no interest in seeing it different
Oh, yeah,
from
no, I have no interest in them changing the plot.
now that I think about it, that's what I think my actual hot take was is that I don't think it'd make a good TV show, but I do think it would make a good movie.
Yeah.
Or they could do it in a movie and it would
It
be
would be
better.
better as a movie, I agree.
Cuz like think about Harry Potter. Like
Mhm.
those movies are so good.
Mhm.
And they follow the storyline of the books almost to a T.
Mhm.
But
I
if you're
liked the Percy Jackson movies.
I did too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my
Yeah.
take.
And there's Twilight movies, The Hunger Games, like,
Yeah.
they're really good movie adaptations, but I can't think of a show that I was like, "Yes."
Yeah. The Shadow and Bone show, did they even make a second season
I
for
don't
it?
think they did.
I think they made a second season. I don't think they went any farther than
Yeah.
that. But I never read those books. So the show was entertaining to me,
Mhm.
you know?
I have a hot take to add to that. Romance, however, can make a good TV show.
Agreed.
Summer I Turned Pretty, My Life with All Walter Boys, like, those were amazing.
I
Those turned
actually
out
didn't
great.
watch the TV show for Summer I Turned Pretty.
Oh, it's really good.
Is it?
Yeah,
Belly?
Ellie. Alright, my next one is well, this is kind of funny. Not reading the book synopsis is the best way to read. Yeah, we've talked about this before, I really don't need to elaborate, but I think it's so much more fun to read a romance when you don't really know what it's about. Especially when it's, like, an interconnected series,
Oh, me
like
too.
Windy City, for example. We just read Windy City by Liz Tomford. Tom Forty. Okay, wait, hold on. Really quick. The second audiobook, the third book that I'm listening to, he calls it Liz Tom Ford.
Okay.
So who's correct? Liz, I need you to let us know.
I think
Because
we might actually I'm gonna make a reel out of this and tag her.
or I need to like find like a interview she's done or something so I
Yeah,
can really hear.
that's a good idea.
But I digress. Yeah, romance books, I really don't like reading the blurb. Maybe for like the first fantasy book I'll read it or something, but yeah.
Yeah, because I think that sometimes you have to know, unless it is rated, not rated really highly, but unless you get a good recommendation for it
Yeah.
to at least give you the interest in starting it, which is honestly how I find most of my book recs these days. I used to like be a crazy book hunter. I would be in like the um readers also enjoyed on Goodreads
Oh.
for
Oh
hours.
my gosh.
Like literally for hours hunting for next book. But that was mainly in like college and high school when frankly I was like one of the only people I knew that loved reading.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wow. Go back to those
No,
times.
seriously, like isn't it crazy how much it's changed in the past few years and
Mm-hmm.
now I feel like everybody is reading and also I guess social media and BookTok have played like a huge role in that.
For sure.
Like seeing things online that people recommend. But yeah, I would pretty much like only read a book blurb now for the first book to see if it like sounds interesting to me
Mm-hmm.
and then not read the rest of them.
Yeah.
And sometimes I won't even lie, I will read a book based on the cover now.
Yeah.
I did that recently and it didn't work out. Off to the Races by
Oh.
Elsie Silver. I'm sorry. If the MMC is stomping his foot like a 2-year-old,
Oh.
I will be DNFing. So, no, I'm not even kidding you. It was disgusting. I vomited a little bit. And you know what's even more sad is that was in the first like 50 pages of the book and I kept reading it.
You need to raise your standards.
I am.
Yeah.
Now I am.
Now you have a new standard set.
Yeah.
That's great.
But then I have people like Mariana Reads.
Mm-hmm.
She recently did a like TikTok of her rating like all the LC Silver MMCs, and that one was rated her lowest. So I'm like, maybe there's promise for her other books. And she's a big Elsie Silver gal.
Yeah, it can go like that sometimes.
Yeah. So maybe I'll give
Series.
her a try again. But
Yeah.
anyways,
I don't even remember what. Oh, not reading book synopsis. Yeah.
sorry, I kind of took that on a tangent.
No, that's fine. I mean, that's what this
Um,
episode is going to happen. I was gonna add one more tidbit though, is yes, like you were saying, like I get a lot of my book recommendations nowadays from friends or from social media. And so this is kind of anti to what my first hot take, but if a book creator is saying something like books I would rate 6 stars if I could or something, and it's, similar themed fantasy, then I'll be like, okay, yeah, I will go off just that. Like, I don't need to read the book blurb. Like,
yeah, this is like the rating I would
that's
give
all
it.
I need it. I just need that one little hook, or the posts that are like, would you read this book based on the first line? Yeah. And I'm like, yep, okay, done.
I would.
Don't need to read the blurb.
A great example of that is all of the Ruinous Love trilogy books. Those have great openers, like opening sentences.
I can't remember any of them.
We'll eventually do an episode where we read like first line or something like that. That's gonna be one of mine.
Okay.
They're so good.
I'm excited then.
I have like something kind of going off of this topic. I think that Goodreads rating, like the average rating, are kind of worthless.
Yep.
I'm not gonna lie.
Do you know how many bots and like paid reviewers there are?
Yeah. Oh, like the ARCs that are like paid to give it. I wasn't even referring to that. I just meant that people have really bad taste.
Oh.
Like for example, Onyx Storm has like 4.25. I don't know what it is exactly, but like that's a shit book. Like that's bad taste. I trusted those people when I started Fourth Wing, and now I'm like, I shouldn't have.
Okay, Fourth Wing was good.
I mean, Fourth Wing was good, but I'm just saying, like, it makes me realize that, and I would say that this is probably especially the romantasy genre, like especially romantasy, overinflated ratings. Like if it has above a 4.2, I'm like very distrusting. Unless it's like Brandon Sanderson, which he's like high fantasy, but
yeah,
I don't know. Like for example, Quicksilver. Didn't you DNF that?
Yeah.
People really love it, but it has really high rating on Goodreads, and so frankly, that's one of the reasons why I haven't read it. Is because I'm like, I don't really trust that, and I knew that you didn't finish it. But On the opposite side, though, I think that romance books are usually rated like
Spot
very
on.
spot on.
I totally agree with that.
I'm like, people are so much more fair.
Yeah. I feel
Even
like
myself.
Yeah, I feel like everybody kind of has the same rating scale for romance, but fantasy, it's there's fantasy, epic fantasy, like Brandon Sanderson, and then there's the romantasy other end of the spectrum. Like, can't think of an example right now, but very different things.
Yeah. This is another like side tangent. I saw this TikTok the other day where this girl was like rating the like romantasy and fantasy books that I've read in the last however many months or something. I don't know. I don't remember what it was. But she was like out of 10 stars, which I'm like, that's pretty much just 5 stars and you just have it, but whatever. Almost every single book, she was like 1 million out of 10 stars. I'm like, okay, that defeats the whole entire purpose of giving like I'm going to rate this book out of 10 stars.
Yeah.
It was like 12 out of 10 stars, 45 out of 10 stars, 100,000 out of 10 stars. I'm like, come on now.
Yeah.
Like, be fucking for real. Like, give me an actual rating.
Yeah.
Don't be annoying like that.
If I notice myself rating books like the same back to back, like the past 3 books I've read have given 4 stars, I'm kind of like,
do I need to reevaluate?
Yeah, I was like, do I need to like go back and like rethink that?
I do too. But then I try to be like a little bit more true to myself and like my gut reactions. Because I think sometimes when you give a book a star rating, like your gut reaction typically is correct, right?
Yeah.
Because you've just finished it. You're like kind of high off of the finish of the read. And if it's a good book, So I try not to overthink it too much.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Yeah. I have another side point I could go off that, but I'll save it for my hot take.
Okay. Is it my turn now?
Yeah.
Okay. My next one is that BookTok and Bookstagram make SJM like this god tier, like nobody can outdo her author, and that everything else is garbage. And that's probably a little bit of an over exaggeration, and it also might be a little bit outdated because I'm on social media a lot more now, like posting for the pod, and I am exposed to more. But I've just noticed in the past like year and a half that like if something is not at ACOTAR level, people automatically assume that it's just not good.
Yeah.
They're like, this book will never be as good as ACOTAR. And I'm like, or SJM in general, not just ACOTAR. And I think that's just sad.
Yeah.
I'm like, authors are not being given the like opportunity to become beloved, I guess, because you have, Rebecca Yarros and SJM like dominating this space of the best authors in the industry right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of sad.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. There's not a lot of variety in like the top authors. Now, and same could be said for romance too. Like Abby Jimenez, Emily Henry, they are dominating.
Yeah.
The romance genres nowadays, and
yeah, I think that like for romance, it's a little bit different. Like people just have favorites, and people are entitled to have favorite authors. I'm not saying like that's not necessarily the problem. I think that it's holding all other authors and books to like this standard of when in reality, like, yeah, they're good, but also, in my opinion, House of Flame and Shadow was not good. In my opinion, like A Court of Silver Flames was not good. Like everything that author produces does not have to be the best book that you've ever read.
Yeah.
And I say that with a caveat, like Throne of Glass is my favorite series. I'm just saying that they do not need to be the standard that you hold everything else to, because then I don't think that you're giving yourself the opportunity to enjoy other authors as much as you could.
That's so true. Yeah. Comparison is the thief of joy, people.
That's right.
Don't forget that.
That's right.
It can apply to reading too. Yeah.
Your turn.
My turn? Okay. Romance will never be as good as romantasy. Depth-wise. I'm talking standalone versus series here, okay?
What
I've said
about
this
interconnected standalones?
no.
Okay.
I honestly that might even be worse. So I have said this before to Madeline, and she knows how I feel about this, but to explain to y'all, fantasy can go a depth that romance cannot. Like you have world building and you have magic that adds to a character, and you have a series. More than often, it's a series. And nowadays, long ones. And there's a bunch of side characters, that add to the dynamic. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The tropes can be different also. Like found family, I feel like is more common in fantasy. Romance, however, is very like male main character, female main character, and it's all about just the romance, pretty much. Yes, there's always like some kind of like
Side
character arc,
plot.
yeah, that needs to happen. But this is why I have to have two completely different rating scales for fantasy and romance, because you are just not going to get the same level of depth ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really, ever, in my opinion. I've tried to think of one that might combat that, but, you know.
My my theory is okay, I agree that depth wise, like you just have more time and like simply more pages to immerse yourself into fantasy and rather than romance, like you usually have at least 100 more pages for a fantasy book, so you're getting to know the characters more, and that's just more opportunity for the author to give you things to think about,
Mhm.
right? And I think that from a level of character growth and character development, like same thing, you're with those characters for 4 to 5 books, 3 books, so you just have more time with
Mhm.
the cast and the plot and their
Exactly.
problems. So I agree. I think that a little bit though, like it partially is because that's just your taste is to like fantasy books better.
Maybe. Yeah,
And you
maybe.
also haven't been reading romance as long.
I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, but you used to not really read like a ton of romance before. I would even say last year. And you've admitted that to me.
Yeah. It's not like I don't read any romance. I just don't often read like the very popular romance.
Okay. That's true.
But yeah, maybe I'm a little bit biased on this hot take. I mean, that's what makes it a hot take, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, in my opinion, like you'll just never get that same level of depth, and therefore I will always, I don't know. I can't.
You can't say that they're on the same level.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not.
Yeah.
At least I don't think so either. Like I
Mhm.
agree with you,
Mhm.
but I think there's just like a really good reason for it.
Yeah.
So,
All right, that is all.
okay. Onwards. I don't know. This is like a very specific book. Or yeah, this is very specific to a book, like for a hot take, but I like think that ACOSAF or no, ACOS A Court of Silver Flames is not a good book.
Yeah.
There is no plot in that book and you cannot argue otherwise.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like there just isn't.
There isn't.
That series should have ended after the third book.
Yeah.
Maybe that's even more of a hot take is that I just think that that series should be over. Like I have honestly no really interest in Elaine. Girl is boring as fuck.
Yeah.
So I'm like, literally, did we just get A Court of Silver Flames to basically cater to fans who wanted to see Nesta and Cassian have sex a million times?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, that's what I felt like that book was. And
Mhm.
it was 800 pages of it too, I
Yeah.
think. I don't know how many pages it was actually, but I know you don't have it. I don't know why we're looking for
Yeah.
it.
But it is thick. Very thick. I mean, yeah, I completely agree. I will not ever defend or subscribe to any A Court of Silver
Yeah.
Flames.
And when people tell me that A Court of Silver Flames is their favorite book, my jaw drops.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but I will form an opinion about you.
No, seriously. I'm like, I don't think I'll. Have you ever seen I think her name is Brit in her books or something. She's a bookstagrammer.
Yeah.
She's probably on TikTok too. She's so funny. But she has this whole like segment that she does where it's like book recommendations or people I do not want book recommendations from. That's one of my people. I do not want book recommendations for you if your favorite book in that series is A Court of Silver Flames.
Yeah.
A part of that is also just because I really do not like Nesta as a character.
See, I would say that I don't hate Nesta, or I'm not. I'm impartial. Like
That's
I think
kind of
she
probably
has
how I am
her.
too.
She has her value. She has her grievances. But yeah, no plot really made the series flop for me because the lack of plot.
I think that it served two purposes, right? Fan servicing
for
and
sure.
And then two, like, spoiler, set up for the third book of Crescent City.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like, it obviously had a purpose. I would feel the exact same way if Sarah J. Maas ever opened up the door for Throne of Glass again.
Yeah.
I feel like that series is perfect the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
And she's said in interviews apparently that it's not like she's not saying never, right? She's like, I don't really have any plans to, but I'm not saying that I would never do it. Oh my God, that would make me so mad, I think.
I would just be terrified.
I would be too, especially seeing the way that Crescent City like crossover went. Like that would really concern me.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
But I know that there are some like die-hard fans of that, of
Mm-hmm.
A Court of Silver Flames.
Yeah.
So I may be making myself an unpopular person right now. But what can I say? I didn't like it.
Yeah. You're entitled to your opinion.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. My fourth hot take, and I think my last, is that I encourage people to rate books that they DNF. I know it might be a little bit, oh, well, you didn't even finish the book, like, blah, 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 or, like, people might be mad at that. Like you said, reviews can be very skewed on Goodreads and all. But if an author fails to hook you, they did a bad job. And therefore, I will give it 1 star.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think the struggle for me is that if you didn't read the whole book,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not saying that I haven't done it. The book that I DNF'd recently, I gave it 1 star, I think. Because I think that should affect the average rating.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that's fair.
I'm doing my duty.
My civil duty. I think it's fair to do it, but it also does make me feel like a little guilty when I do it because I'm like, I didn't technically read, however many pages or however many percent of a book. And well, what if the last 50%, the last 75% were actually really good?
Yeah.
But maybe that's more of a like I struggle with DNFing in general. That's not necessarily a rating thing for me because I think I rate books that I DNF.
Yeah. I don't always give them 1 star. Like sometimes I'll give them 2, but it's always because the author failed to do their job, hooking me in the first, 1 to 2.
Capture and keep your attention.
Exactly. Or if it's something like I didn't like the writing style, which that rarely ever happens, that I would DNF for that reason. But like I wouldn't rate it. Like I wouldn't rate that. Or if I only get like 10 pages in and I'm just like, okay, I'm already bored, I won't rate it then. But if I've read like more than 3 chapters and they failed to hook me, you're getting a 1 star.
You've DNF'd a book after 10 pages?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. The Cemetery Boys, I DNF'd that so quick.
Did you listen to that on audiobook?
Yeah, but I read it too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I just hated that it was like magic realism in California. Like it should have just been a fantasy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to think of what other books. Like Quicksilver. I am sorry, but I read that she was an infamous thief and poor, and whatever, and I'm just like, dear God, like I cannot read another one of these. Like I just can't. Like please, that trope is so overused. And I knew that was a personal opinion, so I didn't give it a rating.
Okay, so you're selective about it.
I am. I am polite and thoughtful about when I give 1 stars.
I think that's kind of good advice, actually. Like, not only do I think it's a hot take, but I think that it probably is also good advice to give readers if they disagree. That I think that's something that people should do.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And like another example is when I gave November 7th, I DNF'd that book in chapter 1. Maybe I think I finished chapter 1, but I read that one line that was absolutely heinous. I'm like, that was so bad and awful of the author to do that to me that I'm giving it 1 star. So like that to me justified, like it was acceptable for me to do that. I have to protect other readers out there.
I think that's a great point. I also think that it's helpful to people who, I mean, I don't do this often, but sometimes I do look at reviews, like actual reviews that have been written before I read a book if I'm on the fence,
Yeah.
and I'll filter for a 1 star.
Mm-hmm.
And typically 1 star reviews are very short. They're not like there's not a lot of substance there because you probably either DNF'd it or didn't like it enough that you didn't want to say that much.
Mm-hmm.
Um and so I think it's actually helpful when people rate things as 1 stars because then I'm like, oh no, like I definitely don't want to read it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll filter for like a 4 star review and I'll filter for a 1 star review.
Yeah.
I don't do it all the time though.
Me neither. But it adds to
Yeah.
just like Google reviews or Yahoo reviews.
Oh my gosh, I have to give you an update on this. I remember how I told you that people were rereading Onyx Storm already.
Uh-huh.
I posted like a post on Threads about it,
Uh-huh.
and I had like 3 people comment saying that they were doing that, and I was like, oh. I was like, somehow I reached the wrong audience here.
Some of our posts really reach the wrong audience, and that really sucks.
No,
For example, this.
yeah, they were. Somebody was like, I'm doing that right after I finish my Iron Flame reread. I was like, wait.
You're rereading the whole series?
Yeah, the only reason I can imagine doing that is because you were simply so fucking confused after reading Onyx Storm that you had to go and reread the first 2 books to make it make sense.
That's so funny.
Am I wrong?
No, I mean, yeah, but I don't. Also, if I'm that confused, I would just give up.
Yeah. You know what I've been kind of thinking about recently?
What?
Not reading the 4th book when it comes out.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I saw a post. Wow, I'm really referencing to our social media book friends out there, but I saw a post of somebody saying like fantasy books I've read recently that are really popular, and they were on the same page as us. Loved Fourth Wing, and it's gone downhill ever since. But she said like I can't not read the 4th book. I have FOMO. The series is so popular, and yes, I want to know what happens, and yes, I will be torturing myself and unhappy while I read it. But like, I can't not.
I feel that way as well. But I think the only reason why I would do it at this point is so we could talk about how much we hate it. If we
Yeah.
don't like it.
To be honest, yeah.
That's kind of how I feel about it, which I'm like, is that really a good enough reason to read it? I don't know.
As people drop off though and like don't read the 3rd or don't read the 4th, the ratings for the book just get higher because it's the fans that are loving these books. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
So again, I have to do my duty.
I don't think that, at the very least, I will not find myself at a book event like I did for Onyx Storm.
Yeah, same.
That was super fun though. I would do that. I want to do that for another book. I won't find myself at a book event, and I probably will not be like waiting on bated breath for it to come out. Like I think it speaks volumes that I truly do not care when that comes out.
Yeah, same.
But you know what? And I think that there were good things about that book, and I think that there were good things about that series, and people who read it simply for the vibe and not like just didn't care about some of the issues that I had with it. That's fine.
That perfectly leads me into my last
Okay, go ahead.
hot topic, but do you want to go first?
I don't really think that I had another one that I wanted to say, but let me double check.
Okay.
Okay. I'll say it just as I wrote it down. I think it's okay if romance authors are not as great of writers. And like when I initially said this to you, I know that your reaction was like, what the hell? The way that I mean that is it is okay if, for me personally, I'm willing to overlook a romance book that is more poorly written than a fantasy book. I have higher expectations writing wise of a fantasy book.
Yeah.
So for me personally, if I'm reading a romance and it's like not the best writing in the world, fuck it. I'm not here for that anyways. Like there's not any intense world building that needs to be written super well. Like as long as there's great grammar and not like misspellings, if the plot and the romance and the characters are like decent, I will be there still. I think the exception to that is if the writing is like juvenile, like if it literally feels like a third grader wrote it.
Uh-huh.
They have to at least be proficient enough for me to feel like it was an adult that wrote the book.
Yeah. I agree with this. I do.
Okay,
Yeah.
knowing my reasoning, you understand.
Yes, I understand now. Fantasy authors in my mind will always be held to a higher expectation.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you have more things you need to get done.
Yeah.
You have a magic system to explain, you have world building to do.
Like theoretically, it's probably harder to execute.
Yeah.
Like it is probably actually more difficult to write those books, I would think, than it is to write a romance. And so, I think it's just like a writing skill set that you need.
I agree. I do agree with that, actually.
That doesn't mean that romance authors aren't like as talented.
Yeah.
But anyways,
I agree with that.
You ready for your last one?
Yes. My last one kind of pertained to what we were talking about earlier on, but sometimes, actually, I'd say 9 out of 10 times, I really don't trust you mood readers. Or readers that will say, sometimes I'm just reading for the vibes. I don't trust y'all because I have like a perfect example of somebody I could say, but like there was somebody.
Let's not name drop them.
Yeah, we won't name drop, but like somebody was saying like, like I would rate Onyx Storm lower, but like, I still like liked this part, but like I've seen a lot of people complain about, let's just say, Andarna's plot line, but like everything else was okay, so like I'll still give it 4 stars. No.
If you have a
No.
major issue for the book, like rate it appropriately.
Please rate it up appropriately. Like, no, I get like reading for the vibes with romance, and I get it for fantasy sometimes, but some people are just like, I'm not like trying to hyper analyze, these Easter eggs in the Fourth Wing series. Like, I'm just here for the vibes. I'm like,
here's the thing. I agree with that to a certain extent. I think if you go into a book with a certain like expectation, if I go into a book knowing I'm just reading it for the vibes, maybe I'll still like rate it appropriately, but like I think that that's different than if I like change my mind mid book because I don't like the way it's going.
yeah.
That's different, which is I feel like what this person did.
Yeah.
Is they just decided to overlook something because they didn't want to feel that way about it.
Exactly.
That's the difference, I think.
Exactly. I will even say I've done it before. For Iron Flame, I finished the book and I gave it 4 stars, but like my review was like a lot of complaints.
It was negative.
Like mostly negative, and I'm like went back and I'm like, no, like I need to look at the book as a whole. And yes, I may have enjoyed this and this, but like this and this were bad, and I need to readjust my rating. So people that are like, yeah, I really didn't like that part, or like I really hated this character trait about them, and or like this plotline really pissed me off, but they're like, well, like the rest of it was good, and I really thought like so and so was really hot. Like, bro, I need you to be for real. Like,
Mm-hmm.
don't skew it like that.
Yeah, that's really tough. It
Yeah.
is really tough when people actually just rate things higher or recommend it more so simply for the book boyfriend.
Yeah.
Which I understand it because that is a big reason for sometimes why I read. But also like one character does not make the story
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't make the book better. And so I really struggle with that when people are like just recommending it simply for one reason or rating it just because this one tiny thing went right.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like how we were trying to do hot takes, but like literally every single one we've agreed with each other.
Yeah. Well, we have very similar tastes,
We
so
do.
I'm not
That's true.
surprised. But perhaps I do feel like some people in our audience might disagree with us, and that's
Mhm.
okay.
That's okay.
Um, these are our hot takes, and I know so many like people I know in my you know social circle that are mood readers, and like that's okay. But sometimes I'll tread with caution around, the recommendations.
Yeah. I'm with you.
I have always claimed to be I really like books with depth. I've said it even today. And so I am biased that like I don't really vibe with mood readers or like vibe raters, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I think vibrators is a better way to put it.
Yeah, not so much mood readers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't the right wording. Vibe raters.
Mhm. I'm with you.
Like floating like I love the Italy vibe inspired setting.
Therefore, four
Ready for the
stars.
vibes. Yeah. Anywho, that is my negativity and hot take for the day.
Yeah. I think that's all we had, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So we're done. That's a wrap.
that is a
Um,
wrap.
if you disagree, feel free to sound off in the comments, but please be nice.
That's true.
I have a really I'm kind of sensitive. um, you are entitled to your opinion and we love it. Like honestly, it's been really fun to experience like bookish discussion,
Hmm.
but also be courteous to
Yeah,
your fellow book community and book lovers.
yeah. People will comment, like for example, one of our hottest takes is Onyx Storm. People commented on our post like saying, "I disagree about this," and Mal and I will talk about it. And like it's something we get to discuss whatever you guys commented.
Yeah.
So
And sometimes like it influences my opinion. Like I'll think about it again and I'm like, yeah, that's a good point.
yeah,
And I think for the most part, everybody has been very kind.
yeah,
So
polite, yeah,
that's
courteous.
yeah, that feels good. But I do fear that one day I will get like a nasty gram and that will make me sad.
Yeah,
So
it's bound to happen.
it is bound to happen. But it does make me feel better that I could just like report it. If it's like really not nice, I
Yeah,
could.
but if it's just disagreeing with us, like
No. Yeah.
you're
It's just
entitled to it.
yeah, and that's literally part of the reason why we're here is to like stimulate bookish discussion and like establish a bookish community,
Yeah, exactly.
and hopefully people still feel like they like us and want to be a part of it even if we don't agree on everything.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
This was honestly kind of a get to know us episode in some ways.
Yeah.
I feel like this is being authentic.
Mm-hmm. I feel like the better that you guys know our reading habits and tendencies and preferences, like the more you'll know like how to perceive our recommendations and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, it's back.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Where the hell did it come from?
I don't know. It just came out of the ground.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's wrap this up. There's a wasp in the room. Oh my god, it's trying to get out and it can't.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for tuning in for another episode
Yeah.
of Check This Book Out.
Thanks for joining us another week.
Mhm.
Another more fun. Next week is Hannah's birthday.
Yes.
So we're doing a little book out bookish birthday celebration. And then we're also going to talk about the March Madness results, which I guess kind of like a reminder on that is Hannah and I made a March Madness bracket where you can vote on it's a bracket of books. And we're posting those on our Instagram and TikTok stories. every day for like the next week or so. If you haven't done it yet, feel free to do it from now on.
Not too late to join.
I can't say like how it's going yet because we haven't started it yet, but we're going to talk about the results of that, and I'm excited to see how that goes.
Me too. But yeah, follow us on Instagram and TikTok. Share your thoughts. We're here every single Tuesday. And
yeah, we love you guys.
Yeah. See y'all next
See you
week.
next Tuesday.
Bye.